I was going to do a condo update, but then I thought, man, I'm so tired. I feel so drowsy right now. So I thought, maybe I should do something on fasting because I do wonder if it's from the fasting today because I've been fasting today. So I guess I last ate last night. Last night. That sounds funny, but yeah. And I don't know if it's from the fasting or also not sleeping. Or I don't know. I got to bed at 4. Got up at 8:50. That should be enough. I took a nap for lunch, but I guess if I do the math, it's not enough sleep. So I think that's the number one thing with fasting or just life. Sleep is more important. Getting enough sleep is more important than getting enough food. In fact, I think you would die faster from a lack of sleep than a lack of food. So that's interesting. But it's pretty hard to not sleep for a long until to that point. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I don't really have much of a topic. Well, no, fasting. It's my topic. So yeah, today was the first weigh-in in like 3 weeks. I last did it before I moved, and that was a while ago. So I've also not been fasting since I moved. Yeah, I haven't done anything, and no exercise, no running, no weightlifting. I mean, I walk to the store and that's it. And it's not on purpose. It's just so busy with work and the move and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time and mental energy too. It's just I don't want to go, and it's cold. There's a lot of reasons not to run, but I do want to do it again. But I got on the scale and it was like 6 pounds heavier, and I was actually fine with that. I thought, okay, I'm not in the 160s again, which I was like happy about. So still in the 150s, and for me the 150s, that's a fine weight. That's a fine weight. So I'm actually happy with that. But I also thought I missed some of the other benefits of fasting, and that's why I'm actually doing it. Not the weight, I'll take it. I can trim up the waistline, that's always a bonus, but it's not the actual number one purpose of fasting, for me at least. Funny thing is, before I came here, before I moved, that final week before the move, like the November like 8 to 12 or something like that, I did it's kind of a 5-day fast, but not a real fast, a true fast. And the difference is, like, I wouldn't eat all day, but then I would have a glass of wine and popcorn every night at like midnight. So it's not a true fast. So I was getting, and you think that's nothing. Well, that can be still like 500. It was actually a 100 calorie bag of popcorn, but like 500 calories if you count the wine and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say, well, maybe not 5, but 300 to 400 calories a night. And that was just because I was like gaining again. I had gone off of it and I wanted to kind of get back in control. So I did that. And then I moved and then fasting stopped. But as far as what I missed about the fasting was actually the mental clarity that you can get from doing it. And sometimes I just think, I kind of need that. I need to be able to focus on a task for a while, whether it's work or hobbies. And that is sort of one of the biggest benefits, I think, of fasting. The weight loss is great. It's a nice bonus. But there's so many other things that I think people aren't aware of that you can get. And that's why it's sometimes good to do it on purpose for a while. Now, if you're starving on a lifeboat somewhere, you don't really have a choice, and the fasting is probably going to do more damage than good. But if it's kind of controlled, then I think, yeah, that mental clarity that I get. And it's so important because it's not so much you get a super gain, it's just you're avoiding, how do I say it? I'm avoiding all of the problems you get from these sugar rushes, these things that you talk about all my life, or heard about all my life, but I never really understood much about them. But these, when you get an influx of carbs, that glycogen spike, the sugar spike, and then the insulin spike that follows it, and those things I think were really affecting me. It's just, I was like, I had a hard time really focusing because of that. And it makes sense when you kind of like research it, but for me it was like, I don't know, it seemed to affect me more than in the past. And really, with like food choices, it could have been avoided. I mean, I think for like getting so busy, I just wanted treats, and not just candy. Sometimes candy, or sometimes booze. Not great choices. But it'd even be, I would get like some Indian food, and I would like, I don't know, get. It actually wasn't the sauce that was really the biggest problem. It was like, you put it on over rice, and you put that on naan, and the next thing you know, you're just having this huge influx of carbs. I mean, mostly carbs with very little fiber or anything else. And then go back for seconds, and then pair that with wine and or beer. And that was just, those things were really affecting me. So I could tell that it was making a difference. So most of my snack crackers, although I did have cheese, but a lot of that was really those sugar spikes were really messing me up. So And again, you can avoid that by cutting back on the carbs and having more protein. But I don't know. I was kind of like in the mood for treating myself, but maybe a little too often. And the funny thing is that I didn't even know it till recently that vegetables are mainly carbs and fiber is mainly a carb. And I thought, well, what isn't a carb? Well, protein, fat and protein. So if you truly want to avoid it, I don't go 100% like Atkins or the Keto. It's like I still like some carbs, but just weird learning that like vegetables are primarily carbs, which I guess makes sense when they break it down. That's what the plants are doing, converting it to energy or stored energy. And then animals convert stored energy as fat, and then we eat the fat. It's all kind of weird. So yeah, the mental clarity was kind of the one biggest reason. The kind of the tightening up, losing some weight, getting a trim waistline, that's sort of the icing on the cake. And I would say, and there's other things too. I guess you fast long enough, you get autophagy, where your cells, it's just kind of cell cleanup, break down the kind of the cells that aren't in great shape, kind of, and replace them. It's like getting a brand new car. All your cells are getting replaced, kind of got a few miles on it. Hey, not working as good as it could be. Supposedly there's even like some results or tests show, some research shows that it's even good against preventing certain types of cancer. And then, insulin helps your insulin levels and your gut bacteria, gut cleanup. There's so many great things about it. And again, I don't propone it as like you should fast more than you eat. It's just you should like kind of complement it. And it doesn't have to be 50-50. It just should be complicated. Do it once in a while, I think they recommend. Not all the time. I mean, for me, it's going to be more regular than most people. But I think for most people that never even do it at all, you're kind of missing out on some health benefits that you could be getting, But as long as you're okay and you're not obsessive, like me, it's like I'll go too far. It's like I latch onto something that I think, oh, it's doing me some good, or what I want, and I keep doing it. But for most people, you probably have better self-control, I guess. Yeah, it's a weird thing to say it in a way like this, but yeah, whatever. Okay, well that wraps up my summary for fasting, and this is just a 24-hour. I'll eat at midnight. I got food waiting for me. It's just waiting. It's like, hey, James, come on. It's like, 3 or 4 more hours. The days, I could talk about this forever, but it's funny because the days are actually easier. I wake up pretty hungry, but for the rest of the day, I'm kind of hungry. It's not that I'm not hungry, but the rest of the day, it's like, okay. And mentally, I think, just a few more hours, I can do it. If I was starting at like a 5-day fast where it's like a zero food fast, then it would be like, oh, this is going to be hard. But 24 hours, that's nothing. Icing on the cake, which I can have at midnight.